okay. Most of the time they have compliments, but occasionally there are concerns, and when they do have concerns, we are
We're going to
it's
go above
mandatory.
and beyond.
It's mandatory. It's mandatory that we give those concerns to Mr. Beckwith. We can't give them to Carolyn or anybody else.
I want to see and hear every one of them. And y'all know for a fact we're going to discuss it every Saturday morning.
Yes, we do. And we actually, like you say, we go over them every week.
That's right.
Every Saturday morning.
The things that wasn't right, and we going to make it right. We want to know.
Exactly. And it's open to the public. We invite the public to come to our staff meetings, to our ride-along program. Everyone's allowed to come and hear everything that Golden Gate does. And we kind of pride ourselves on not having secrets, Carol.
That we don't, John, because again, if we do anything that you don't like, please come and tell us. We're kind of like that discount tire commercial.
Okay.
Just please let us know.
So we can fix it.
Because we want to always meet and exceed the standards that you should have for a funeral home.
Right.
And what we're here for today and every day is to tell you what those standards should be and how they should be met for you.
Ethical and moral standards, y'all. Is that good for business, Carol?
Oh, definitely, John. If you don't know the right thing to do, there's no way you're going to stay in business.
Okay.
You have to treat people right. God gives us a guideline by which to treat our fellow man and our brother and sister. And if we follow those, he's going to make sure we're successful because everything is already his to be given to us. We just have to earn it.
Queen, is ethical and moral, is that just good business when it comes to selling pre-need?
Oh, not just pre-need, Mr. Beckwith, but it goes beyond pre-need.
Okay.
Even in my daily life, I have an ethical standard about paying my tithes. Even when nobody's looking, off the top, I have to pay my tithes and give an offering.
I like that, y'all. What do you think about that, Pastor?
Doing right just makes sense.
Okay.
I've heard my grandmother say as a child, right is just right, and right ain't never wrong nobody. And so it's to your benefit to keep doing the right things. The more you do right, the more God bless you. And see, when you do right, more people come to you. And for 30 years, Golden Gate have been treating the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex right, with honesty, respect, no secrets. If there's a problem, you go straight to the owner, and he addresses it, and he handles it, and he fixes it for the families. And we are blessed to be able to say that we're part of the #1 African-American family-owned and operated funeral home in the United States of America. And so, yeah, it's a good thing to have those ethical and moral values in place so that you can continue to do a good work for the community.
Now, Carol, it's not all about money. You can't get rich off of each and every family. Is it more important to service them than it is to make a profit always?
Always, John. People think that funeral homes are rich.
Okay.
They'll say that to you. They'll say that about you. They'll say it about us. But no, sir, it is never really, and it's really never been about money for our dad, because, you know, Dad came in the business and started a $600 funeral, made absolutely no money, and nothing but the blessing of the Lord kept the lights on. So no, it's not about money. And when you do the right thing and you follow the guidelines that God has set for you, he's going to make sure that everything is okay for you. So no, it's not about money.
That's absolutely true, Mr. Beckwith.
And God have sustained us with it.
Yes, and will continue to.
I was just going to say I have that same moral ethic in pre-need and selling pre-need to my families. I could sell families $10,000, $15,000 funerals, but if this is something that they can't afford, it's not what I want to do. Morally, I want to sell the family something that they can afford, something that they can have and pay out.
And something they're going to have at that time.
Right.
Exactly. Because a lot of times people are started with a pre-need, they're started with insurance, but they can't afford to keep it.
Right, because the prices are too high.
Exactly.
That's what I like about Golden Gate. We have the lowest prices of any other funeral home that I know of. Not only in the pre-need, but in the ad-need as well.
King, is knowledge mandatory to meet those standards?
Oh, yes. You definitely have to know what you're selling and what you're talking about. You have to know your products. So you have to study yourself to be approved, you know. You definitely do.
You got to study yourself to be approved, Pastor Body. Is knowledge mandatory to meet those standards?
It is, John, because the Bible also says, for the lack of knowledge,
perish.
That's right.
So therefore, I thank God that we have the opportunity to come on the airwaves, and people can stop perishing from the lack of knowledge of funeral business. Because there have been so many myths, so many rumors, so many false things been said about funeral business. And it's good to know that we have the chance, the knowledge that you have learned. Okay. You have shared with the entire staff at Golden Gate Funeral Home, and you share with us, and now you have given us, this panel, the opportunity to come on nationwide TV and share it with everybody of the complete understanding of funeral business. We don't want nobody to be ignorant to the fact of funeral service.
All right. Queen, with that said, what do you think the biggest misconception of funeral service is?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions of funeral service, Mr. Beckwith, is that if I buy a pre-need, I'm going to die.
Okay. People think, man, if you start talking about this funeral service stuff, if I go and pick out my funeral, I must be getting ready to die.
Because I know
Is
people,
that true?
That's not true. That is a myth. I know
All right.
people that bought pre-needs back in the 70s, and they're still alive.
Still
All
alive.
they did was made a wise investment, and they saved thousands of dollars because they froze the costs back in the 70s.
And I can tell you, Queen, I've seen many death certificates. Not one of them ever said cause of death pre-need. King, what is one of the biggest misconceptions you've learned
I've
in
heard
funeral
people
service?
say that they dig the caskets up.
Okay, the
after
people, the funeral
are
director will
buried.
go back and take what you
and get
have.
to use the casket over again.
Okay.
I've never. Boy, that is really wild and
And we
crazy.
can tell them that we buy caskets by the
Truckload.
truckload.
That's right.
We do not
don't
need to
need
go
your
back and
casket.
get it.
And actually, it's less expensive for me to buy another one than it is for me to pay somebody with the machinery to go back and
They can
dig it
dig
up
it up.
and
That's
take a
right.
chance. Carol, what's some of the biggest misconceptions you've ever heard?
I guess the ones I've heard lately, John, is don't show the funeral home your insurance policy.
Okay.
Because then they're going to spend all of your money.
Right, if you walk in there with $10,000, your funeral bill is going to
Be $10,000.
$9,999.
And the reality is that when you walk into a funeral home, it is a state and federal law that the funeral home must give you prices before you ever discuss prices. There must be a price book handed to you. So you have a right to choose that before you ever discuss how
Any
much
type
money
of
you
price.
have or whatever the
Or what do
case
you want
may
to
be.
spend, yes.
Pastor Body, what's some of the biggest misconceptions you've heard of funeral services?
I gotta say, the Undertaker hand is ice cold.
We're ice cold. Well, when it's 20 degrees outside, you
It's gonna be ice
hand is
cold.
cold.
But no, hands are not cold. Some people are just cold natured. Their hands is cold in the summertime.
Okay.
But because we work at a funeral home, they say, I'm not gonna shake your hand. Your hands are cold. That's not true.
When we think about that, what people think about is that deceased people are in refrigeration all the time. And they think about that we must work in a refrigerated area. But that's not true. Once the body is embalmed, it does not have to be refrigerated. And then our refrigeration is a closed door. We don't actually enter into the refrigeration. We actually take your loved one in and out of refrigeration. So we don't really come in contact with the
Cold all the time.
That's just a misconception. Body, I know you've been around here 25 years. What's one of the biggest misconceptions about deceased people that you hear?
That they raise up.
That they raise up.
Now, I've been doing this
Deceased people move.
25 years. I'm yet to see one raise or move after they have been pronounced dead.
And I've heard people say, well, what about that last jerk? What about that last movement? What about the last breath? And I can tell you, after all these years in business as a licensed film director and embalmer, I've never seen a deceased person do anything that we didn't have them to do.
Amen.
That means we have to physically move them.
That's
They
right.
don't do anything. If they're breathing, we need to call 911
That's
because
it.
they're still alive.
They don't need to be embalmed.
Deceased people do not sweat. We've heard people say, it's so hot in here, it looks like they're sweating. That's usually from some type of moisturizer
Right.
that the funeral home has used to stop the body from dehydrating. We hear that sometimes. We hear people say, it looks like they're moving. But if you stare at any object long enough,
Exactly. It'll appear to
it'll
move.
appear to
Yeah.
move.
Your
but
mind will
deceased
play
people
tricks on you.
Do not hear that. Have y'all ever heard anything at all about deceased people?
Yes, I've heard that they were scared of the funeral home. They think something's in there going to get them. But
okay.
my favorite quote is, it's not the deceased that you
You
should
need to be worried
afraid
about.
of. It should be the living.
The live people. Yeah, a lot of times, Carolyn, people speak of spirits. They speak of certain things that's being left at the funeral home because the deceased person is there, because the body is there. But we certainly believe as Christians is to be absent from the body
Present with the Lord.
is to be present
That
with the
spirit is
Lord.
not
absent with the body and present with Golden Gate Funeral Home. Or absent
Are
with the
there
body
to scare you when you get
and
there?
present at the cemetery, because we tell people all the time, Pastor, by you preach many eulogies, is that your loved one is not here.
Yeah.
This is just the shell.
It's the house that they
This is the house that they
soul once resided in.
reside in, and that soul and that spirit is no longer there because our soul and spirit doesn't live in anything that's dead.
It goes back to the one who gave it. And that's to
Right,
the Lord.
right. So we don't have to worry about being afraid of funeral homes.
No, we want people to understand that we're in business to help you during the transition.
Okay.
Because your loved one has passed away, and there's something that we need to do with them and for them on this side. And that's what we're there for. It's not, like I said, it's not a scary place. The hands are not cold. The people don't move. It's just a transition so that you can give your loved one a great homegoing celebration.
And we don't remove all the blood from the body, do we, y'all? We don't take
No,
all the blood.
no organs.
What we do is replace some blood, and we replace it with some embalming fluid, but all of it does
It's
not come out. The
preservation.
funeral home does not remove organs. That's something that's done during an autopsy.
Right.
It's not something that's done
At the funeral.
at the funeral home.
No,
So
they
many
remove the legs.
misconceptions
No,
out
they
there.
remove the legs. They say because they can't see the legs, they think we cut them off.
Right, and that's not the case, is it?
No, sir.
Well, I tell you what, you listen to us every Saturday morning on Heaven 97. That's 970 a.m. on your dial. And people can actually call in and ask about all those
Any
misconceptions.
questions
Any
you have.
questions they may have, and the Undertaker will be more than happy
Thank
to
you.
answer all of them for you. It's an open forum, y'all. And you can watch us every Saturday night right here on Channel 34.1 at 7 o'clock p.m. and every Sunday morning, y'all, on Channel 21 at 5:30 a.m. May God bless you. May God keep you is our prayer. We are stepping up the level of our services. Our goal is to treat your loved ones with the respect they deserve. We are taking our services to new heights. We are stepping in a new direction. Step into the new millennium with Golden Gate Funeral. With service